Captain Lisa Morgan stood in the center of the massive courtroom. The room was bigger than any building she had ever seen on Earth. Strange lights floated in the air above her head. The walls were made of some kind of metal that seemed to glow, with its own light. Around her sat hundreds of alien beings. Some looked like giant lizards with sharp teeth. Others looked like walking crystals that sparkled when they moved. There were creatures with too many eyes and others with no eyes at all. They all stared at her with hatred. Lisa wore her best uniform. The blue fabric felt heavy on her shoulders. Next to her stood Dr. Amanda Cross, the smartest person Lisa knew. Amanda's hands shook as she held her data pad. They were both scared, but they tried not to show it. "The court will now hear the charges against the human species," said a voice that seemed to come from everywhere at once. A tall creature made of living crystal floated forward. This was Velnari, the prosecutor. When she spoke, her voice sounded like breaking glass. "The humans are guilty of being too violent. They are guilty of growing too fast. They are guilty of taking over too many worlds. They are a danger to all peaceful life in the galaxy." Lisa felt anger rise in her chest. These aliens had never been to Earth. They did not know humans at all. How could they judge her people? On the other side of the room sat High Counselor Aelwyn, Starweaver. She was an elf, tall and beautiful, with long silver hair. Her people had lived among the stars for thousands of years. The elves were old and wise, and other species listened to them. Aelwyn stood up slowly. Her voice was soft, but everyone could hear her clearly. "I have watched the humans for many years. They spread across the galaxy like fire. In just 200 years, they have taken 17 star systems. They build weapons of great power. They fight wars even among themselves." The alien judge was a huge lizard-like creature called Zexthara. His scales were dark green, and his eyes were yellow like fire. When he spoke, his voice was deep and scary. "Tell us more about these humans, honored elf." Aelwyn looked sad. "The humans do not think before they act. They see something they want and they take it. They do not ask permission. They do not wait. They just take and take and take." Amanda stepped forward. Her voice was small in the huge room. "That is not true. We only take worlds that have no life on them. We make them into homes for families who need a place to live." Velnari made a sound like laughing, but it was not happy. "You humans always have excuses. What about the warships you build? What about the weapons that can destroy entire cities?" "We built those to protect ourselves," Amanda said. "When pirates attacked our colonies, we had to fight back." "Lies," hissed Zexthara. "We have reports about your Lieutenant Maya Stone. This one human destroyed an entire fleet of ships by herself. No peaceful species needs such warriors." Lisa's face grew red with anger. Maya was her friend and the best pilot in the human fleet. Maya had saved thousands of lives when she fought those pirates, but these aliens only saw her as a weapon. The trial went on for hours. The aliens showed videos of human wars. They talked about human weapons. They made lists of all the worlds humans had settled. Everything humans had done looked bad when the aliens talked about it. Amanda tried to show good things humans had done. She talked about the medicines humans had shared with other species. She showed pictures of human doctors helping sick aliens. She told stories about humans who died saving others. But the alien judges did not want to listen. They whispered to each other and shook their heads. Lisa could see they had already made up their minds. During a break, Lisa and Amanda sat alone in a small room. Amanda was crying. They will not listen to us, Lisa. They think we are monsters. Lisa put her hand on Amanda's shoulder. We are not monsters. We know what we really are. We help people. We protect the weak. We make friends with everyone we meet. But they do not see it that way, Amanda said. To them, we are just another species that will grow too strong and take over everything. Lisa looked out the window at the strange stars. Maybe they are afraid of us because we are different. We do not give up when things get hard. We do not stop trying when someone tells us no. Maybe that scares them. When the trial started again, more aliens spoke against humans. A creature that looked like a giant bug talked about how humans had too many children. A blob of moving water said humans used too much energy. Each speaker made humans sound worse and worse. Elwyn spoke again. This time she looked even sadder. The humans remind me of the old stories my people tell. Stories about species that grew too fast and became too strong. These species always ended up destroying others. We cannot let this happen again. The alien judges nodded their heads. Lisa could see they agreed with everything Aelwyn said. The elves were respected by everyone. If the elves said humans were dangerous, then other species would believe it. As the day ended, Zexathara stood up. His huge form cast shadows across the room. The court has heard much evidence today. The charges against humanity are very serious. We will think about everything we have heard. He looked down at Lisa and Amanda with his burning yellow eyes. You have 72 hours to prepare your final defense. Use this time well. The fate of your entire species depends on what you say next. The courtroom began to empty. Aliens floated, walked, and slithered toward the exits. Many of them looked at Lisa and Amanda like they were already guilty. Some even smiled, showing sharp teeth and cruel eyes. Lisa helped Amanda gather her papers. Neither of them spoke as they walked to their small ship. They both knew the truth now. This trial was not about justice. It was about fear. The aliens were afraid that humans would become too powerful to stop. As their ship flew away from the huge court station, Lisa looked back at the strange building floating in space. Somewhere inside, alien judges were deciding if humanity deserved to live free or be destroyed. She made a promise to herself. If these aliens wanted to see what humans could really do, she would show them. But not in the way they expected. Amanda worked all night in their small ship. Her eyes hurt from staring at the computer screen, but she could not stop. She had to find proof that humans were good people. The trial would continue soon, and she needed evidence to save her species. She found old records from the first human colonies. The files showed how humans had helped alien refugees when their homeworlds were destroyed. There were pictures of human doctors treating sick aliens for free. There were reports of human ships rescuing people from natural disasters. Look at this, Lisa, Amanda said, pointing at her screen. 12 years ago, humans saved an entire colony of bird-like aliens when their son started to die. We gave them ships and helped them find a new home. Lisa looked over Amanda's shoulder. She was tired too, but hope filled her chest. This is good. Do you have more like this? Yes, many more. But Lisa, I found something else, something bad. Amanda's voice became quiet and scared. Some of the attacks on our colonies that we defended against? I think the aliens planned them. Lisa sat down quickly. What do you mean? Amanda showed her another file. 3 years ago, pirates attacked the farming colony on New Texas. We said the pirates came from outside our space. But look at these communication records. The pirates had alien weapons. They knew exactly where to attack. Someone gave them information. Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, Lieutenant Maya Stone flew her fighter ship through empty space. She was supposed to be on patrol, but she was really doing something else. She was spying on alien communications. Maya was the best pilot in the human fleet. Her ship was small and fast, and it had special equipment that could listen to alien radio signals without being detected. What she heard made her angry. "The humans will be found guilty tomorrow," said a voice she recognized as Zexathara. "After that, we can begin the real plan," another voice answered. This one belonged to a different alien species. "Are you sure the fleets are ready? The humans will fight back when we attack their worlds." "Let them fight," Zexathara laughed. "We have ships from 6 different species. The humans have no chance against us. In 1 week, every human world will belong to us." Maya's hands gripped her ship's controls so hard they hurt. The trial was fake. The aliens had already decided to attack human colonies no matter what happened in court. She had to warn someone. She sent a secret message to General Kate Adams on Earth. Kate was in charge of all human military forces. If anyone could prepare for what was coming, it was her. Back at the court station, something strange was happening in the Elvish section. Scholar Nimrodel Silverleaf was very old, even for an elf. She had lived for over 3,000 years and remembered things that others had forgotten. She walked slowly to where Aelwyn was sitting. "Hi, Counselor. I must speak with you about something important." Aelwyn looked up from the report she was reading. "What is it, old friend?" Nimrodel's ancient eyes were sad. "The records you used in court today. The ones about human violence. I do not think they tell the whole truth." "What do you mean?" Aelwyn asked. "I have been checking our oldest files. The ones from before the council changed our record-keeping systems. I found something that was not in your reports." Nimrodel handed Aelwyn a data crystal. 50 years ago, humans saved one of our colonies." Aelwyn took the crystal with shaking hands. As she read the information, her face became pale. "This cannot be right. Why was this not in the main files?" "Because someone removed it," Nimrodel said. "Someone wanted us to think badly of the humans. Someone has been changing our records for years." The old elf showed Aelwyn more files. Each one told a different story than what the council had been told. Humans helping others. Humans sharing technology. Humans making peace instead of war. All of it had been hidden or changed. "Who would do such a thing?" Aelwyn whispered. "Someone who benefits when we fear the humans," Nimrodel said. "Someone who wants us to help destroy them." On Earth, General Kate Adams received Maya's secret message. She read it 3 times before she believed it. Then she called an emergency meeting with all the human military leaders. "They are going to attack us no matter what happens at the trial," Kate told them. "We need to prepare our defenses now." "How many ships do they have?" asked one of the admirals. Kate looked at the intelligence reports. "More than us. Much more. 6 alien species working together. If they attack all our colonies at once, we cannot protect everyone." "Then what do we do?" asked another officer. Kate was quiet for a long moment. She thought about all the human families living on the frontier worlds. Children who would die if the aliens attacked. We fight. We fight with everything we have. And we hope that Amanda and Lisa can find a way to stop this war before it starts. Back at the court station, Amanda made another discovery. She was looking through old communication records when she found something that made her heart race. "Lisa, come look at this right now," she called. Lisa ran over to see what Amanda had found. On the screen was a conversation between Zexathara and other alien leaders. It was from 6 months ago, long before the trial started. "The humans are growing too strong," Zexathara said in the recording. "Soon, they will have enough ships to challenge us. We must act before that happens." "But we need a legal reason to attack them," said another voice. "The other species will not support us. If we just start a war, then we will create a legal reason," Zexathara replied. "We will put them on trial. We will make them look guilty. Then we can destroy them and take their worlds legally." Amanda and Lisa looked at each other in shock. The whole trial was planned from the beginning. The aliens never intended to be fair. They just wanted an excuse to destroy humanity. "We have to show this to everyone," Amanda said. "We have to prove that the court is lying." But Lisa shook her head. "Who will believe us? Zexathara is the judge. He will just say we made it up. And the other aliens want to believe we are guilty. This will not change their minds." Amanda felt hopeless. "Then what can we do?" Before Lisa could answer, their ship's communication system came to life. Someone was calling them. The voice that came through was soft and musical. It was Aelwyn Starweaver. "Captain Morgan, Dr. Cross, I need to speak with you privately. I have learned something that changes everything. Can you meet me in the old observation deck? Come alone and tell no one." Lisa and Amanda looked at each other. This could be a trap. But Aelwyn sounded different than she had in court. She sounded worried and sad instead of angry. "We will come," Lisa said into the communication device. 20 minutes later, they met Aelwyn in a quiet part of the station. The elf looked tired and upset. Her beautiful face was marked with tears. "I owe your species an apology," Aelwyn said. "I spoke against you in court, but I was told lies. Our records about humans were changed. Someone wanted us to think you were dangerous." She showed them the real elvish records that Nimrodel had found. Amanda read them quickly, her excitement growing. "This proves we are not the monsters they say we are," Amanda said. "Will you tell the court about this?" Aelwyn nodded. "I will, but I fear it may be too late. The other alien leaders have already made their decision. They want your worlds, and they will not let the truth stop them." Lisa felt the anger rising in her chest again. "Then we will fight them. Humans do not give up just because the odds are bad." "That is exactly what I told them you would say," Aelwyn smiled sadly. "And that is exactly why I believe you deserve to survive." As they talked, none of them noticed the small device hidden in the corner of the room. Someone was listening to everything they said, someone who did not want the truth to come out. The next day would bring the final part of the trial. But now it was clear that the real battle was not happening in the courtroom. It was happening in the shadows, where alien leaders planned the destruction of humanity. The only question was whether the truth would come out in time to save the human race. The final day of the trial arrived. The huge courtroom was packed with aliens from across the galaxy. They had come to see humans be judged. Many of them looked excited, like they were watching a sport instead of a trial for an entire species. Amanda stood up to give humanity's final defense. Her hands still shook, but her voice was strong and clear. She had worked all night to prepare what she would say. "Honored judges, I want to show you who humans really are," Amanda began. She activated a holographic display that filled the air above the courtroom. Images appeared showing human doctors treating alien patients. When the plague hit the Centauri colonies, human doctors worked for months without sleep to find a cure. They saved over 1 million alien lives. When the Vegan asteroid hit their moon, human ships carried food and medicine to the survivors for free. More images appeared. Human engineers building schools on alien worlds. Human farmers teaching other species how to grow food in harsh environments. Human explorers sharing maps of safe travel routes through dangerous space. We are not conquerors, Amanda continued. We are helpers. We are friends. We have never attacked a peaceful world. We have never enslaved another species. Every weapon we built was to defend innocent people from pirates and raiders. The alien audience listened, but many of them looked bored. Some were talking to each other and not paying attention. Amanda realized that most of them had already decided humans were guilty. Velnari, the crystal prosecutor, stood up when Amanda finished. Her voice cut through the air like a sharp knife. Pretty words and carefully chosen pictures cannot hide the truth. Humans are violent by nature. They multiply too fast. They consume too many resources. They are a cancer that will spread across the galaxy if we do not stop them now. She activated her own display. It showed human wars throughout history. Battles and explosions filled the air. The sound of gunfire echoed through the courtroom. Look at their history, Velnari said. They have been fighting wars for thousands of years. They invented weapons that can destroy their own planet. They cannot even live in peace with their own species. How can we trust them with the galaxy? Many aliens in the audience nodded their heads. The images were scary and made humans look like monsters. Amanda wanted to explain that humans fought wars to protect freedom and stop evil, but no one wanted to listen to her anymore. Then something unexpected happened. Aelwyn Starweaver stood up from her seat. The entire courtroom became quiet. When an elf spoke, everyone listened. I request permission to change my testimony, Aelwyn said. Zexathara looked angry. His yellow eyes burned like fire. You already gave your testimony, honored elf. The court has heard your words. My words were based on false information, Aelwyn replied. She was calm and dignified, but Amanda could see she was nervous. I have discovered that our records about humans were deliberately changed. Someone wanted us to believe lies about them. She activated her own display. The real elvish records appeared for everyone to see, stories of humans helping elves, saving elvish colonies, and sharing technology freely. 50 years ago, humans saved the elvish colony of Rivendell Prime when our sun began to die. They gave us ships and helped evacuate over 10 million elves to safety. This record was removed from our files. Someone did not want us to remember human kindness. The courtroom erupted in noise. Aliens shouted at each other in dozens of different languages. Some were angry that the elves had hidden this information. Others were angry that Aelwyn was defending humans. Zexathara slammed his massive fist on his desk. Silence! The court will have order! When the room became quiet again, Zexathara spoke in a voice that was cold and dangerous. These new records change nothing. Even if humans helped elves in the past, they are still too dangerous to be allowed to grow stronger. The evidence of their violent nature is overwhelming. Amanda felt her heart sink. Even with the truth revealed, the judges did not care. They had made up their minds before the trial even started. The court finds humanity guilty of all charges, Zexathara announced. The sentence is immediate cessation of all human expansion into space. All human military vessels must be surrendered within 30 days. Observation posts will be established on every human world to ensure compliance. The alien audience cheered. They were happy to see humans punished. Amanda looked around the room with tears in her eyes. These creatures called themselves civilized, but they were celebrating the destruction of an entire species. Lisa stood up next to Amanda. Her voice was loud and angry. "You are not judges. You are thieves and murderers. You want our world, so you made up charges against us. This is not justice. This is greed." "Silence," Zexthara roared. "Guards, remove these humans from my court." But before the guards could move, something strange began to happen. The lights in the courtroom started to flicker. The space outside the windows, which had been filled with normal stars, began to grow dark. At first, only a few people noticed, but soon everyone in the courtroom was looking out the windows in confusion and fear. The darkness was spreading like ink through water, covering the stars one by one. "What is happening?" asked one of the alien judges. The station's computer systems began to beep with warning sounds. Emergency lights flashed red and yellow. Through the communication speakers came the voice of the station commander. "All ships prepare for immediate departure. We are detecting massive gravitational anomalies throughout the system. The space around us is becoming unstable." But even as the aliens began to panic, their fleets were already moving toward human space. They had planned this attack for months. Nothing would stop them from taking the human worlds they wanted. Zexthara smiled coldly as he watched the darkness spread. "Technical problems will not save you humans. Our fleets are already on their way to your colonies. By tomorrow, every human world will belong to us." Amanda grabbed Lisa's arm. "We have to warn our people. We have to get to our ship." But as they ran toward the exit, the darkness outside the windows seemed to pulse with its own life. It was not empty space. Something was moving in that darkness, something huge and ancient and very angry. Elwyn caught up with them in the corridor. "I am coming with you," she said. "My people made a mistake supporting this trial. I will not make the same mistake twice." The three of them reached their ship just as the first reports came in from the alien fleets. The voices on the radio were confused and frightened. "Command, we are seeing massive objects emerging from dark space. They appear to be ships, but they are larger than anything in our databases." "How large?" asked a fleet commander. "Our biggest dreadnought is 2 kilometers long. These ships appear to be over 50 kilometers in length, and there are hundreds of them." Lisa started her ship's engines. As they flew away from the court station, she looked back at the massive structure floating in space. The aliens inside were probably still celebrating their victory over humanity. They had no idea that something much older and more powerful than humans was waking up. The darkness continued to spread, but now Lisa could see that it was not empty. Shapes moved within it. Huge, impossible shapes that hurt her eyes to look at. Ships that seemed to be made of folded space and crystallized time. "What are those things?" Amanda whispered. Before anyone could answer, every communication device in their ship activated at once. A voice spoke in perfect English, then repeated, the same words in every known language across the galaxy. "The children of Terra are under our protection. Those who would harm them will answer to us." The message was simple, but the power behind it made the entire ship shake. Outside, the alien fleets that had been rushing to attack human worlds suddenly found themselves surrounded by the massive dark ships. Lisa smiled for the first time in days. She did not know who these newcomers were, but they were on humanity's side. The aliens had declared humans guilty and planned to destroy them. Now they would learn what it meant to face true judgment. The alien fleet stopped moving toward human space. Their ships floated in the darkness, surrounded by vessels that made their largest warships look like toys. The mysterious dark ships were silent and still, but everyone could feel the power radiating from them. General Kate Adams sat in her command center on Earth, watching the reports come in from across the galaxy. Her communication screen showed confused alien commanders trying to understand what was happening. "General, we are receiving signals from the structures on our colony worlds," reported one of her officers. "The alien artifacts that our scientists have been studying for years. They are all activating at the same time." Kate nodded grimly. "I thought they might be connected to this somehow. Those structures have been on our world since before we arrived. We always wondered who built them. On the colony world of New Montana, Dr. Susan White was one of the scientists studying the ancient structures. She had spent 5 years trying to understand the strange metal towers that dotted the planet's surface. They were clearly built by an advanced civilization, but they seemed older than anything else humans had ever found. Now the towers were glowing with soft blue light. As Susan watched, symbols appeared on their surfaces. The symbols moved and changed like living things, telling a story in a language no human had ever seen before. "They are trying to communicate," Susan whispered into her radio. "The structures are showing us something. I think they want us to understand who built them." Back in space, Captain Lisa Morgan guided her small ship through the darkness between the giant vessels. Up close, she could see that the dark ships were not made of any normal material. They seemed to be constructed from space itself, folded, and shaped into solid form. "Amanda, are you reading any life signs from these ships?" Lisa asked. Amanda looked at her instruments with wide eyes. "I am reading something, but the computers cannot identify what it is. These beings are unlike anything we have ever encountered." Suddenly, one of the massive dark ships changed direction and moved toward them. Lisa's heart raced as the enormous vessel approached. It was so large that their entire ship could fit inside one of its small sections. A gentle force took hold of their ship and guided it toward an opening in the dark vessel's hull. Lisa tried to resist, but her engines had no effect. Whatever power these beings possessed, it was far beyond human technology. "Do not be afraid," said a voice that seemed to come from inside their own minds. "We have been waiting a long time to meet the children of Terra. You are safe with us." Their ship was pulled inside the dark vessel through what seemed like solid metal. Once inside, they found themselves in a vast chamber filled with soft, warm light. The air was breathable, and gravity felt normal. 3 figures approached their ship. They looked almost human, but there was something ancient and wise about them that made Lisa feel very small. Their skin glowed with the same soft light as the chamber, and their eyes held knowledge of things that happened long before humans existed. "Welcome, young ones," said the leader of the 3 beings. "I am called the first speaker. We are the predecessors, the last of our kind. We have been watching your species for a very long time." Lisa, Amanda, and Elwyn left their ship and walked toward the predecessors. The elvish counselor bowed deeply, recognizing beings far older than even her ancient people. "You built the structures on our worlds," Amanda said. It was not a question. "Yes," the first speaker replied. "We built them as a test. Every species that has reached the stars has found our structures. Most ignore them or try to use them as weapons, but humans studied them with curiosity and respect. You tried to understand rather than exploit. The first speaker gestured, and images appeared in the air around them. They showed the history of the galaxy over millions of years. Civilizations rose and fell like waves on a beach. Some became peaceful and wise. Others became cruel and warlike. "We were like you once," the first speaker explained. "Young and curious, and full of hope. We explored the galaxy and made friends with many species, but we also faced those who would destroy others for their own gain." The images showed great wars between the stars. The predecessors fighting against species that wanted to enslave the galaxy, battles that lasted for thousands of years and destroyed entire star systems. We won those wars, but the cost was terrible. Our civilization was nearly destroyed. We survived only by learning to exist outside normal space and time. We became guardians, watching and waiting for another species worthy of carrying on our mission. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. What mission? To protect the innocent, to stand against those who would oppress others, to ensure that freedom and justice survive in the galaxy. The first speaker looked directly at Lisa with eyes that seemed to hold the light of stars. "We have been testing species for eons. Most fail. They become conquerors or victims, but a few show promise." "And humans?" Amanda asked. "Humans pass every test we gave you. When refugees needed help, you helped them. When colonies were attacked by pirates, you defended them. When other species asked for aid, you gave it freely. You could have become conquerors with your military power, but instead you became protectors." Through the walls of the ship, they could hear other sounds. The predecessors were communicating with the alien fleets that had come to attack human worlds. But this was not a conversation between equals. "Your fleets will withdraw immediately," came the voice of a predecessor speaking to the alien commanders. "Any attempt to harm the children of Terra will result in consequences you cannot imagine." Zexathara's voice crackled over the communication channels. "Who are you? By what authority do you interfere with galactic justice?" The answer came swift and terrible. "We are those who were here before your species learned to make fire. We are those who taught the first civilizations the difference between right and wrong. We are justice itself, and we have found your court lacking." On his flagship, Zexathara felt fear for the first time in his life. The dark ships around his fleet were not just powerful. They were something from the deepest legends of his people, stories told to children about beings who could unmake reality itself. "We demand that you identify yourselves and state your intentions," Zexathara said, trying to sound brave. "Our intentions are simple," the predecessor replied. "The humans are under our protection. Your illegal war against them ends now. Your fleets will return to your home worlds and never threaten peaceful species again." "And if we refuse?" asked one of the other alien commanders. The answer came in the form of action rather than words. One of Zexathara's escort ships simply stopped existing. It did not explode or break apart. It was there one moment and gone the next, as if it had, never been built. "That was a demonstration," the predecessor said calmly. "We do not wish to destroy you, but we will if you force us to choose between your lives and the lives of innocents." Back inside the predecessor ship, the first speaker continued explaining humanity's role in the galaxy. "We offer you a choice. Children of Terra, accept our legacy and become the new guardians of the galaxy, or remain as you are under our protection. Either way, you will be safe from those who would harm you." Lisa looked at Amanda and Aylwin. This was the biggest decision in human history. Accept responsibility for protecting the entire galaxy, or remain a small species under the protection of beings they barely understood. What would becoming guardians mean? Lisa asked. It would mean inheriting our technology and knowledge. It would mean learning to exist partially outside normal space and time as we do. It would mean taking responsibility for protecting species that cannot protect themselves. And the cost? The first speaker's expression became sad. The cost is that you can never again live only for yourselves. You will carry the burden of justice for all sentient life. It is a heavy weight, one that we have carried for millions of years. Lisa thought about all the human colonies spread across the galaxy. Families trying to build new lives among the stars, children playing in the parks of distant worlds. All of them safe now, because these ancient beings had chosen to protect humanity. But she also thought about other species that might be facing the same threats humans had faced. Young civilizations that might be destroyed by bullies like Zexathara unless someone stood up for them. I cannot make this choice for all humanity, Lisa said. But I can tell you what I believe. Humans have always fought for those who could, not fight for themselves. If you are offering us the power to do that on a galactic scale, then I believe most humans would say yes. The first speaker smiled. That is exactly the answer we hoped to hear. The transformation began immediately. Lisa felt a warm energy flow through her body as the predecessors shared their knowledge with her. Suddenly she could see beyond normal space, into dimensions that existed between the stars. She understood. Technologies that humans had not even dreamed of yet. The knowledge will spread to all humans gradually, the first speaker explained. Your people will need time to adjust to their new role, but you three will be the first guardians. You will lead humanity into its new purpose. Amanda gasped as the same energy filled her mind. She could suddenly understand the science behind the predecessor ships. The way they folded space and time to travel instantly across the galaxy. More importantly, she could feel the life force of every sentient being in the nearby star systems. Aylwin also received the gift of knowledge, though her reaction was different. As an elf, she was already partially aware of dimensions beyond normal space. For her, the predecessor knowledge felt like remembering something she had forgotten long ago. My people will join this alliance, Aylwin said with certainty. The elves have made many mistakes, but we can learn from them. We want to help protect the innocent. Outside, the alien fleets that had come to destroy human worlds were learning what real power looked like. Ship after ship simply vanished when their commanders refused to retreat. The predecessors were not cruel, but they were absolute in their protection of those they had chosen to defend. Zexathara watched his mighty fleet disappear around him. In minutes, hundreds of warships had been reduced to a handful of vessels. The reptilian warlord who had planned to conquer human space now cowered in fear aboard his flagship. Please, he begged over the communication channels. We will withdraw. We will leave the humans alone. Just do not destroy us. Your fleets will return to your home worlds, came the reply from the predecessors. Your species will be confined to your own star systems for the next 1,000 years. Any attempt to expand or attack other species will result in your complete destruction. The remaining alien ships turned and fled toward their home territories. Word of what had happened spread across the galaxy within hours. The mighty alliance that had put humanity on trial was gone, defeated by beings they had never imagined could exist. On Earth, General Kate Adams received a message that changed everything. It came directly into her mind, placed there by the predecessors themselves. General Adams, your species has been chosen to become the new guardians of the galaxy. Prepare your people for their new role. We will provide the technology and knowledge they need. Kate sat in her chair for a long moment, trying to understand what this meant. Then she activated the global communication system and spoke to every human on every world. People of Earth and the colonies, today marks the beginning of a new age. We have been chosen to protect innocent life throughout the galaxy. This is not a burden we take lightly, but it is one we accept with pride. On the colony worlds, the ancient structures built by the predecessors began to change. They grew taller and more complex, becoming communication hubs that connected human space to a network spanning the entire galaxy. Through these structures, humans could monitor threats to peaceful species and respond instantly. Dr. Susan White watched in amazement as the tower on New Montana transformed itself. "It is beautiful," she whispered. "They are giving us the tools to protect everyone." Captain Lisa Morgan found herself aboard a new ship, one that the predecessors had created especially for her. It was smaller than their massive vessels, but it incorporated their most advanced technology. She could travel anywhere in the galaxy instantly, and the ship's weapons could disable entire fleets without destroying them. "This will be your base of operations," the first speaker told her. "From here you can respond to threats against innocent species. Remember, the goal is always to protect, not to conquer." Dr. Amanda Cross was given a different role. She became the first human ambassador to the galactic community, working to build alliances with peaceful species and help them develop their own defenses against aggression. Her first task was to establish the Interspecies Council for Peaceful Cooperation. Species from across the galaxy, inspired by humanity's example and freed from fear of the alien bullies, began to work together in ways they never had before. Lieutenant Maya Stone received perhaps the greatest honor of all. She was chosen to pilot the first predecessor-designed fighter craft, leading a new fleet dedicated to protecting developing civilizations. Her incredible piloting skills, enhanced by predecessor technology, made her nearly unstoppable in combat. The changes were not limited to a few individuals. Every human began to develop new abilities gradually. They could sense when innocent beings were in danger. They could travel between star systems using the predecessor network. Most importantly, they gained an understanding of justice that went beyond human law. 6 months after the trial, Aelwyn Starweaver stood aboard a human guardian ship, watching as they responded to a distress call from a young civilization being attacked by space pirates. The response was swift and precise. The pirates were disabled and captured without a single innocent life being lost. "Your people have adapted well to their new role," Aelwyn told Lisa as they watched the rescued civilians celebrate their freedom. Lisa smiled. "We have had good teachers, and we have learned that the greatest strength is not the power to destroy, but the wisdom to protect." The former alien alliance that had put humanity on trial was a memory now. Zexathara's species remained confined to their home system. Their dreams of conquest turned to dust. The crystal beings who had prosecuted humanity found themselves relegated to minor roles in galactic politics, their influence gone. But the galaxy itself was more peaceful than it had been in millennia. Young civilizations developed without fear of conquest. Trade flourished between species that had once been enemies. The network of guardian ships, crewed by humans and their allies, ensured that aggression was met with swift justice. 1 year after the trial, Amanda Cross stood in the central chamber of the new Interspecies Council station. Representatives from hundreds of peaceful species worked together to solve problems and prevent conflicts before they could become wars. "Dr. Cross," said one of the representatives, a gentle creature from the Andromeda Galaxy, "we have received a distress signal from beyond our galaxy. A young species there faces extinction from local tyrants. Will the Guardians help them?" Amanda looked out at the stars through the station's massive windows. Somewhere out there, people were suffering. People who needed help that only the Guardians could provide. "Send the signal to Captain Morgan," Amanda said without hesitation. "The Guardians will respond." On her ship, Lisa received the message and smiled. This was what humanity had been meant for all along. Not conquest or domination, but protection and justice. The aliens had declared humanity guilty of being too dangerous to exist. They had been right about one thing. Humans were dangerous, but they were dangerous to bullies and tyrants and those who would harm the innocent. And that was exactly the kind of dangerous the galaxy needed. As her ship prepared to jump to the distant galaxy where help was needed, Lisa looked back at Earth one last time. The blue world that had given birth to humanity looked peaceful and beautiful among the stars, but looks could be deceiving. Earth was now the heart of a guardian network that spanned multiple galaxies. From this small world came protectors who would ensure that justice and freedom survived throughout the cosmos. The aliens had put humanity on trial, expecting to find them guilty of being monsters. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous to evil. They had awakened humanity's greatest strength, the absolute refusal to let bullies win. The sky had turned black during the trial, filled with ships that brought justice to the galaxy. Now that darkness was gone, replaced by the light of hope that shone from every human world. And wherever that light reached, the innocent were safe, and the wicked trembled. Humanity had been declared guilty. Guilty of being the guardians the galaxy had been waiting for.